Bunburry, Episode 12, Poison Ivy, written by Helena Marchmont, narrated by Nathaniel Parker. Men always want to be a woman's first love. Women like to be a man's last romance. Oscar Wilde. Prologue. She opened the door of the wardrobe and reached behind a row of shoes to retrieve the box. She laid it on the dressing table, admiring the carved wood, the delicate brass clasps and hinges. She had been given it when she was a child by an elderly uncle, who said it had been made specially for the most beautiful girl in the world, and only that girl would be able to open it. She smiled as she remembered opening it without difficulty, giving a cry of delight. "It's me! I'm the most beautiful girl in the world!" She had resolved there and then that it would contain her most precious objects, and now it did. She took out a piece of tissue paper and unfolded it to reveal a lock of brown hair, tied with a scarlet thread. Toby, her first proper boyfriend. They had been teenagers, but even so, wasn't it a bit cheesy to have a lock of his hair? She stroked it against her cheek. No, not cheesy. Romantic. Wrapping it once again in the tissue paper, she replaced it in the box and surveyed the other contents, smiling as she relived the memories, although she felt a little sad considering how each one had ended. She picked out a gold signet ring. Linus, such a sweet man. She slipped the ring onto her wedding finger, stretching out her hand to study it. The ring didn't suit her. It was too chunky, too masculine for her slender fingers. But it was still a memento. He didn't need it now. She removed the ring and took out the largest object in the box, a briarwood pipe. She held it up to her face. She could still smell the tobacco. Clayton. Smoking a pipe was such an old-fashioned thing to do, but with him it seemed natural. So few people smoked at all nowadays, probably worried about the health risks. But everyone had to die of something. She began to close the lid, then stopped and carefully rearranged the cherished objects. The box was almost full, but there was still room for a few more keepsakes. Chapter 1. The Drunken Horse. Well, Alfie McAlister. Alfie turned to see Edith, the elderly mother of the owner of the Drunken Horse Inn, approaching the secluded booth with a glint in her eye. "Let me give that table a wipe," she said, wielding her cloth quite unnecessarily, since Alfie had placed the 4 glasses on beer mats without spilling a drop. Her gaze flitted from Alfie with his pint of Bunbury brew to Emma with her half-pint, then to Sumi with her glass of white wine, and Tara with her glass of red. "This all looks very cosy," she remarked. "I hope you girls aren't falling for his chat-up lines." "Not a line to be heard," said Alfie. "We're just good friends." "Sometimes not even that," said Emma, raising a cackle from Edith. "And I thought he was having a last go at playing the field before his girlfriend got back," she said. Emma's glass landed awkwardly on the table, slopping some beer over the rim. "Betty's coming back?" she asked as Edith dabbed at the spillage. The elderly woman put her hands on her hips. "He hasn't told you, then? That's a bit suspicious, isn't it?" Alfie was still trying to process what she had said. Was it good news or bad? He had been quite composed about the prospect of Betty's return when it was hypothetical. Now it seemed to be happening. He could feel his mouth go dry. "I didn't know anything about it," he said, aware that he was talking faster than usual. "When's she arriving?" Edith put on a pious expression. It's not my place to say. She's a smart girl, that Betty. Planning to catch you unawares and see what you're up to behind her back. Cackling again, she headed for the bar. You didn't know anything about it, said Emma to Alfie. She wasn't wearing her police uniform, but her tone was well suited to interviewing a suspect. Alfie might be 15 years older than her, but she had never shown any respect for his age. Not a thing, he insisted. I haven't heard from her since she left. That wasn't strictly true. There had been one postcard, making it clear that whatever he might have imagined, they had no future together. Sumi and Tara, one petite and black-haired, the other a rangy blonde, were watching him with undisguised interest. You never said you had a girlfriend, said Tara. I don't, said Alfie. It's just Edith's little joke. Sumi turned to Emma. Is this what he does? Pretends to be footloose and fancy-free? He certainly tells everyone that Betty isn't his girlfriend, but I'm not sure whether he's told her, said Emma. Is he blushing? Asked Tara. I think so, said Sumi. We must be embarrassing him. Fun, isn't it? Said Emma. Alfie cleared his throat. Enjoy your drinks, he said. They could be the last I buy you for a while. He tried to maintain a stern expression, but failed, largely because he could see they weren't even pretending to take him seriously. Sumi nudged Tara. We'd better stop upsetting him. Heaven knows when we'll be able to afford our own. Alfie laughed. How are the bookings going? Tara nodded. Good. Slow, but good. We decided not to open with a big fanfare, but we're being strategic about where we advertise, and the first guests are about to arrive. We've even got a booking for the other suite. Alfie still hadn't had a proper tour of the new hotel on the outskirts of Bunburry, a former mansion now transformed into the Magnolia Inn, celebrating its avenue of magnolia trees. But he knew that it included 2 suites, one available for bookings and one reserved, apparently in perpetuity, for his best friend, Oscar de Linnet. Any word from Oscar? He asked. Sorry to interrupt. It was Emma, not sounding remotely sorry. Do any of you remember that I actually asked you here? Tara and Sumi immediately switched their attention to her. I can't believe we got distracted, said Tara. We practically ran. We were so excited. Is it a murder? No, said Emma heavily. It's not a murder. If it was, I would be contacting forensics, not you 3. Alfie felt this was unfair, given that he, Tara and Sumi had managed to catch a murderer not so long ago. He felt doubly snubbed since, along with Liz Hopkins and Marge Redwood, he was a member of the Bunbury Triangle, which had solved a number of local murders. A stakeout, then? Asked Sumi. We're quite busy with the hotel opening, but I'm sure we can manage something. It's got absolutely nothing to do with crime or police work, said Emma, and the other 2 women looked deflated. Oh, said Sumi, but you said you wanted our help. Alfie suspected that if he had made the remark, Emma would have rolled her eyes and said something sarcastic, but she gave Sumi and Tara a reassuring smile and said, with the hotel. Alfie decided not to ask where this left him. It's for Aunt Liz and Aunt Marge, Emma went on. Liz was in fact Emma's great-aunt, and Liz's best friend, Marge, was no relation at all, but Emma always gave her the honorific. Aunt Liz has a significant birthday next Saturday. I can't tell you how significant, or I'd have to kill you, since otherwise she'd kill me. Aunt Marge's birthday is in a couple of weeks, and I wondered if you could do something at the Magnolia Inn. The 2 hoteliers exchanged delighted looks. Next Saturday, said Tara. Of course. What about a dinner? On the house, obviously. Our menu's pretty exciting. The English-Korean fusion has really worked. They could stay overnight if they wanted, put in Sumi. Alfie sensed a rare awkwardness in Emma. I was hoping for a bit more, she said. Sumi and Tara's enthusiastic expressions didn't falter for a second, and Alfie reflected that they were hospitality professionals. What were you thinking of? Asked Tara. I thought, with it being a significant birthday, maybe a party, a sort of village event. It was only momentary, but Alfie saw a definite look of alarm in both women's eyes.